I'm having sort of an amazing day. You sort of put the nuts and bolts together, right? See if you can use a hammer and pound a square peg into a round hole. No, see if it fits. Put it on a lathe, right? Bring the tolerance right down so it's a perfect fit. At 300 billionth of a nano, right? Pre-phase, inside, outside. Where am I going to start this? Whoops. I suppose the last time that I wanted to give send Sha Ya workshop Emerald Covenant wrap up 2002 episode 3/12, and I stopped it right at about 12 minutes in. Because I've shared this before when I've communicated with others, particularly on the street, when you know what a condenser is, right? And the evaporation rate, atmospherics, right? Absorption, accretion levels, and all that. And so what I did is I wanted to thank her from my heart and soul, and I did, when you realize there isn't any time, when I'm experiencing her communicating on that YouTube video, what she was sharing, because I thought that she did a very beautiful job being able to take what is really a vast amount of creation mechanics information when you get into all the math and physics and geometry of a graphical user interface running software, right, in an APIN system, a hologram, if you will, and how the frame rate speed works between pre-matter phase consciousness, the purest of light, which is the purest of love, which is God is eternal love, God's eternal spirit on fire to create worlds born out of pure unconditional love so that every image in God's mirror is experiencing being loved forever. That's what I knew at 4 years of age. That's what I experienced. Okay? So that's called knowing the truth, which means I know what love is because I'm experiencing being loved. So that means that I acknowledge at 4 years of age, that's an eternal God. That's one true God. Okay? So that's an eternal love vibration. That's one. That's one eternal love vibration. Okay. And so she made a few references to words like Manu, Eri, how that relates to three spheres. Gaia's 3 spheres logo, motherboard. And then how the numbers as letters, if you will, relate to the other things that I'm about to impart. Some of the stations that I monitor by virtue of what I experience through them, what they're communicating to us. Right? And so I wrote a few things down because the way that it sort of works with my consciousness, because so much is happening so fast, I discard and transmute and delete an enormous amount of stuff and only hold on to what I realize might have future value by communicating in the future what I'm experiencing in the past. That's the only reason I hold it in memory. Because when you're pre-matter phase consciousness, there is no memory. There's only what love is. Okay? That's like the purest there is, right? That's a pure heart, which is purified spirit, which is purified light, which is purified love, otherwise known as experiencing the pure heart of God's heart. That's the atom seed. That's the God speed, eternal vibration of God's heart and soul. I know that because that's what I experience. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm in this black hole. As a polarity integration, do polarity integration work, which is collapse everything that isn't experiencing what love is so that everything that is or ever will be loved. Experience what love is. So you already know they will. It's just a matter of time, or as we used to say, borrowed time, because they're in a hole. So that means at some point in time, because there is no time, they will experience the eternal love that I experience through my heart. They will experience through my heart because that's what love is. Love is eternal. That's an eternal spirit of fire. So I wrote a few things down that knowing the truth, because now I experienced a little video put on by Elon Musk, and he talked about, I was obsessed with learning the truth. I wanted to learn everything about physics, and I wanted to learn everything about this. And I thought, hey, I can identify with that, Elon. I can remember myself when I was 4 years of age. I was on fire to learn. So when you're on fire to learn and you're experiencing the eternal spirit of fire, and are you learning fast? That's the highest particle accelerator, right? It's running the actual spin rotation of a high-speed Merkaba vehicle, right? Hyper. which means you're hypersensitive, which means it's easy to get your feelings hurt by experiencing anything less than what love is. They need healing. My God, look how many images of God need healing. And that's what it is. So that means it's a measurement of resistance. How many units of consciousness are in the resistant mode to experience being loved? Right? So that's a universal measurement, and a galactic measurement, and a planetary measurement, and a star system measurement, right? Yeah. So you know it began with God, so you know it began with love, so you know it began with eternal love. Because love doesn't work backwards in time. It's always been. So you know it's eternal because you're experiencing God's love. So that means you know what the truth is. It means you know what love is because love tells no lies. Because eternal love is fearless. So now we're back to the art of communication, which is the art of healing when you're in a black hole, right? That's why there's some things I share with some people I don't share with other people for obvious reasons, right? We don't want to hurt their feelings. So one of these guys today, not coincidentally, happened to mention that he interviewed 300 people. Oh, 300. And I posted a little lengthy comment there about when Bill O'Reilly used to talk about Fox News being fair and balanced, getting a balanced view or a balanced perspective. And this guy on the California Insider talked about having a different perspective. He talked about how he wanted to go deeper into these interviews with people living on the street to find out why is this major exodus of folks leaving California, right? And so I was experiencing when he said 300 and he mentioned the word, he wanted a perspective. Now the perspective of perspecting the perception that he now has by experiencing the perception of another that is communicating with him, the manner in which that being experiences who they are, what their experiences are, which are their stories. So he was experiencing their stories as a different perspective because he's experiencing something that he wasn't experiencing. Now he's experiencing what they're experiencing. And this is where, when I realized as a small child, I'm experiencing what you're experiencing. But what I'm experiencing in you are your waves. The waves, the plasma field waves, the plasma field generation of waves. So I'm experiencing your radio set, your radio body, and whether or not there's any distortions in your DNA as a result of mutations. Now we're back into breeding experiments, and now we're back into breeding burn patterns, which are the sound and light tones that are being passed on as codes of musical spheres. The circle of light, right? And so I realize when you sort of see what's happening here, you have so many channels, like I subscribe to, of people that we listen to, beautiful theta waves. We listen to others communicating like the Emerald Covenant materials, the Guardian materials, Project Ascension with Clan Mother Karen Ann Luke McDonald, with White Bear, 13th White Bear Arcturian Clan Mother. So you get the native spirit perspective, point of view, or energetic vibration point of view, right? And then the names and the symbols that are used that identify who the native tribes and clans are, okay, which is going to be their perspective, their point of view, being native to America, right? And then you have the other folks, if you want to translate it through the Roman Empire, right? When they hit the shores, if you will, in the West and established what? 13. So you have the 13th White Bear Clan Mother, right? Then you have the 13 colonies that established the United States of America, right? How this relates to polarity between two magnets, okay? And why it was that he interviewed 300 because of the relationship that water, a molecule of water, has with heat, which happens to be, not coincidentally, 300 to 1, or 1 in 300. 1 unit of water will cool the base. The base of the point of origin of a fire will cool. at a ratio harmonic, a speed ratio harmonic of 300. That's the steam conversion, right? Vapor. Atmospherics, right? So you're cooling the base down, right? So you have heat, right? Oxygen, fuel, right? The fire triangle, and then the fire tetrahedron. 12, right? 3/12. In this case, 1 unit of water will cool 300 units of fire, right? Fire water, living liquid consciousness on fire with gold and silver. Or pink. Pink is what I do every day. A pink sphere. The center point of a pink sphere is a diamond crystal consciousness liquid star that is pink. Pink. Mama's pink roses. Yeah. Baby pink. Baby blue. Baby colors. Yeah. The mother and the father joined as one. So I thought, great job. She did a beautiful job because she was able to take the complexity of creation mechanics and she was able to condense it down within a matter of only a couple of minutes to explain just how simple it actually is. Right? God experiencing himself in an infinite manner in which it can be done, which means everything represents a face of God, right? Because it began with what God is, which means it began with what love is. So you know that love is eternal. So you know that anything is within the eternal consciousness field that goes on forever because you can't ever put that spark of life out, which means you can't ever put that fire out. So everything is within all of that that's occurring. So you have a black hole that is within the all creation, right? So that means that love is there. Love is always there. It's always on. That spark and that fire is always on, right? So now you're into free will. So she covered that. And I thought that, when she covered that about the Manu and the Eri and the three spheres, right? The three aspects that come together to experience being one, right? On fire. And so I've certainly shared that on how I light myself on fire, which simply meant that you let go of every single electron that is related to your soul state of consciousness in order to never be separated between the father and the mother joined as one, which is known as a union, which is known as a marriage, or what I call a match made in heaven, right? So that sort of disappears gender, okay? Because you're just one eternal love vibration, giving love to everything that is in the mirror. Because that's what I experience, so that's what I share, how I experience being what I am, which is what love is. So the way I described it when I was a child, because what I'm writing down here is no different than the stuff that I used to write to girls when I was a child growing up, which was to experience pure love creation consciousness on fire as God's first sound and light burn patterns of geometrical, geographical, software user interface of experiencing the hottest engine of creation, accelerating no density electrical resistance to experience no resistance, as pre-matter phase consciousness before creation appears in our magnetic mirror. Magnetic mirror record-keeping exercises of crystal spiral disc plates. The crystal spiral disc plates. The crystic spiral liquid conscious color-coded star network assembly line. Builders of base platform communication trees. Seeded races, branch directory addresses, biocomputer translocating address. How about an ISO frame rate address? ISP providers, right? Internet sensory providers, sensing devices, smoke detector devices, the antenna of a cell membrane, the antenna of a living organism, the antenna of a living cosmic level organism, breathing in and out, right? The breath of aloha, which is the breath of God's love. So I was fascinated with realizing at the end of this that we now have one side communicating with the other side of polarity now, trying to come together to become one with all creation. Because we're experiencing what love is through all creation. Now there isn't any separation between what you are and what I am, because now we're one. To experience no resistance, to experience being loved by the one true God. Have a great day. I love you all. Be good to yourself.